Today I want to share with you about an incredibly powerful tool called the Logic Model. And I know what you're thinking. Please, I don't have time for that kind of stuff. I got kids I got to worry about. I'm really focused on these families that are in trouble. I have staff that I'm pouring into. That this one over here's got dreams. This one over here's got problems. There's always money issues. There's the economy. There's the politics. I'm just so immersed in what I'm doing that I do not have time for a strategy session. I completely understand how you feel. But this process will help with all of the problems that you're currently facing. So I want to take you through what is a logic model. Well, to make it really simple, let's ask a couple of questions. Why does your ministry exist? What problem in the universe do you guys come to solve? How do you solve that problem? And what's the result of your work? That is the logic model. Now, to make it really super simple, I'm going to just use this pyramid diagram, and it's just got 3 layers, right? People struggle with X, whatever it is, which is why we do Y, whatever you do, which results in Z. This is all the beautiful results. So people struggle with, which is why we, which results in. That's pretty much what the logic model is. We're going to get into a much more detailed version of it. And the reason we care so much about this is we have seen how effective it is at both aligning the team around why we exist and what we're doing and what the results are, and around selling and sharing and providing information to potential stakeholders. So let me tell you a quick story. One of our partners in Guatemala, Jadira, runs a Christian school with 300 kids. And, she is really trying to up her fundraising game. She needs to raise some money. And she has a youth music school led by teenagers and all these other kids. And she was invited to present for a group of 60 pastors. And she was so excited. She had only 7 minutes. And there was someone else presenting right in front of her. So it was a little nerve-wracking. But this other person tried to share about their work, and they didn't have a logic model. They kind of used anecdotes and they told stories, but it was really unclear what they were doing and what you were supposed to do as a result of it. Did they want you to give money? It was just not clear. And then Jadira went. And she used the logic model, and she had a promotional video, and she had materials laying out exactly what's going on, what they need, how you can help. So after that, she was like, let's do it, man. And I'm encouraging you to come along this process with us, because it will so bless your operation, both internally and externally, as you tell the story. So let's go into a little more detail. What the heck is a logic model? Well, it's got these layers to it. And so the first thing we do is we kind of really dig deep into understanding the people you serve. And there's many different kinds of people you serve, but kind of grouping them and understanding what their needs are. And that helps you really define the problem in the world that you come to solve. We can't solve every problem, right? There's housing issues, there's food issues, there's government corruption issues, there's water scarcity. You could list 55 problems that people in your community might be struggling with. And you're called to serve some of those problems, but not all of them, right? Once you understand clearly what you're called to do, the problem you're called to serve, then you can say, here's our purpose. We exist too. And that leads you to really understand, okay, what programs can we design or enact that will achieve that purpose to solve that problem for these people? And all of that really leads to the next layer, which is the beautiful outcomes that are a result of all your work. Kids are reunited with their family. Kids are going to university. Kids are learning these instruments. Kids are learning how to step outside of their comfort zone and so on. So what we've done is a more usable format is this pyramid structure. And you can see, I just love, when things have the same letter. So this is the P pyramid, and you can see how each layer builds on the next. And you see that dotted line there? Everything below the dotted line, you have some control in deciding and shaping. But above the dotted line, that's all the results. You've done your work, and now it's up to God to take it and turn it into something. But what's really amazing is that once you understand this logic model and you've defined it, you can get really clear metrics of what you do and what the results are. And those are going to be super important. Okay, so that's a little bit of an overview. Let's do this. Let's go through the example of a ministry that's actually done this work in Kenya, in Nairobi, Kenya. This is a ministry called Real Hope, and they went through this logic model process with us about a year ago, and they began by really defining the problem. What problem in the world do they come to solve? Well, they're in the Kawangware slums, and they're working with orphan and vulnerable children, and they lack love, care, and protection. There's no viable path for them to overcome these deficits. And once they were able to clearly identify that problem, that led them to write this purpose statement. We exist to transform the lives of all orphan and vulnerable children by providing them with love, care, and protection, which will put them on this trajectory, this pathway towards real hope. It's not a fantasy, it's not a hope, it's a real, tried and true pathway. And once you've done that, then you can say, well, here are the programs. And what we like to do is we like to list the programs that you have in a way that's memorable. So we create acronyms. You can see they have the Real H method for achieving their purpose. And I'm going to go through these. They have a rescue function where they're taking kids who are in desperate situations off the streets and they're rescuing them. Then they have the emergency stabilization where they're doing medical evaluation and so on. And then actualization. This is a whole group of programs where there's homework club, there's teen employment, sports, reproductive health, and so on. And then they have this long-term educational plan where they get kids in schools and they pay the tuition. And then the last step is they reintegrate those children into a solid home with a family. So Real H. Every organization has a different acronym and slightly different sets of programs. So in Guatemala, they have one called Amigo, and each letter stands for a program. In Ghana, a ministry we work with there has a hospital and a school and several churches. So they came up with the acronym HEALS, and you can imagine the H is for health. So the point of this is you want to create handlebars for people who are just finding out about your work to quickly grasp what you do through an acronym. So once you have that, then you begin to say, okay, what's the results of all of our work? And your team gets together and you say, yes, we have many, many results, but what are the most important things that we should be measuring that can tell investors and donors and staff that we are successful? These are the targets we're trying to hit. So Real Hope said, okay, what's the number of children who currently have access to full-time education? It's 123. How many hot meals a year? 72,000. How many kids are learning an instrument? 74. How many children are living here? 40. And what's the total number of unique children served? 225. So each year you update, maybe once a quarter, you update these metrics. Now, the last step in the logic model is getting the team together and saying, okay, what are the 5 to 10 biggest things that we're working on for the next year? And 5 is usually better. So now what do you have? Well, over the years, you've probably done a lot of strategy work. You may have had times years ago when you formed your mission statement or your vision statement, and those are all valuable artifacts, things that are part of who you are. You may have done a strategic plan. You may have gone on retreats. All of that is still valid and good. But what this does is it takes who you are as an organization and boils it down to just these 4 slides, which makes it so memorable and easy to communicate. This slide here, problem and purpose, you can memorize that. This slide here, what's the acronym that describes our programs? You can easily memorize that. What are our top metrics? And then what's coming up? Now, once you have this, oh boy, this is where the real fire comes in, because now we can, there's 2 main benefits, 2 main reasons we're doing all this. First, internally inside our organization, We all know what's going on. We know where we fit. We know where the organization's heading. We know how to explain it to each other and to friends and to people who are interested. It makes it so easy and clear. But secondly, it enables us to very quickly tell the story to foundations, investors, businesses, people, churches. And we tell the story with 4 tools that New City will help you develop, okay? The first is a video, and the video is going to show a lot of the logic model. The second is a website. If you have one, great. If you don't, we'll build you one, and it will use all of the stuff from the logic model. The third is going to be a pitch deck, much like the ones I've been showing you. If you have your laptop and you want to tell the story, you can use a pitch deck. And then the last one is just paper documents, that a 2-page, 2-sided, 1-page piece of paper you could leave with someone. And all 4 of these things tell the exact same story. It's like a sports car that has this giant engine under the hood that's purring. You don't see the engine, but you know that car is going fast because it has a great engine. And the logic model is the great engine for your organization. So I hope that this has been a good introduction for you. We'll go through it over a course of several days, and then we'll follow up over the course of several months to get this thing perfected so we can give you those 4 assets. Thanks for coming on the journey.